As you mentioned, you believe that there's the special interests, the police and fire unions, and us as a group, San Diego Generation now, we've gone door to door and promoting ourselves as a group,
Sure.
and we've also promoted voter registration. We have a candidate forum coming up on the 22nd.
Am I going to be a part of that?
That's the mayoral candidates.
Okay, fine. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't want to miss it.
You're more than welcome to come.
To observe, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be at Cal State, and so when we've gone door to door and speaking to people, for the most part, like, we ask them what are their concerns, and they say, police response. Like, they call the police and for the most part they say they don't arrive till half an hour, maybe an hour afterwards. And so my question to you, how would you respond to those concerns that with the residents, when to their public safety, or their...
Well, I understand that question perfectly, and that's and I don't want to lay this all on the fire department, but that's the low-hanging fruit, if you will. The fire department has more. Again, as I was saying, I believe that we've got too much budgeted for them, and I would propose that a significant portion of any savings could go to the police department. I do believe that the police department right now is maybe underfunded or understaffed. I don't know until we have a really good assessment, and of course the jury's out on that because we've got a new police chief. I'm very happy with the new chief, Bergwan. Jared Bergwan. I think he's doing a good job. The rank and file are happy with him, and I think he's going to do a good job. And the little bit I've heard so far about how he's operating, I'm very, very supportive and happy with. But again, we'll give him time to take over. And of course, with this election coming up, not knowing who the mayor's going to be, people that are in an interim position, the city manager's kind of doesn't know where he'll be. If Wendy was elected, he may be gone. She has claimed that he wouldn't be. Same way with everything. With the mayor, depending upon who wins mayor, could change everything. So everyone's kind of waiting for November. I keep saying November, but for February 5th to roll around, see how everything shakes out. And then everybody's ready to say, okay, here's the team for the next at least 2 years. Let's go to work. So I'm anxious to see that as well. But in response to response times for public safety, generally police response times, that's where I believe that it's unfair that we're paying, really, in my view, more than we should be for our fire services when it's needed in other places, not just in public safety. Response times are important, and police are important, but I'm a true believer that if we have some quality parks, some quality libraries, some quality opportunities, some quality shopping areas in this town, and there's activity, and then the crime rate is going to go down. Where there's activity, you're not going to find homeless people. You're not going to find as much crime. They're going to go away when there's people moving around and a lot of activity. So I think quality of life issues are almost as important as having a cop on the beat. But with regard to response times, again, we need to do better at that, no doubt about it. But I can't see spending money. A good example, the way we're set up, and because of the contract we have with fire, it's called constant manning. We're required to fill 3 spots on every truck constantly. That's called constant manning. So at any given time, we've got 12 stations in the city. I believe there's 2 ladder trucks. That would be a hook and ladder. And those are 4-man crews. And the rest of them are what we just call engines. I believe that's the right terminology, but those are 3-man crews. So you take that times 12, and we've got anywhere from 36 to 40 people on staff 24 hours a day in the city of San Bernardino. The shifts for policing the community is more like 10 to 12 people, and they're working the whole time. It's just a fact. Our firefighters work 48 hours, so they're not awake 48 hours, so they're sleeping a good part of the time. I'm not saying that they're shamming. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to take a break. But we could change that model too. Maybe they should be working 12-hour shifts rather than 48-hour shifts, so that while they're working, they're really, they're working. They're not at the station. They're not on break or cooking or whatever they're doing. Again, I'm reluctant to say all this because it sounds like I'm against them, or it sounds like they're not doing their job. They do their job. They do a good job, an important job. There's no doubt about it. But the model doesn't benefit the taxpayer, and it doesn't benefit. I've talked to the police department. I said, I don't understand how you guys are, so supportive of your pals in the fire department when at any given time on an evening between the 4 o'clock shift for police from 4 in the afternoon to I think roughly 4 in the morning, that's when all the crime goes on and all the activity and the calls go crazy. And at that time, you've got 8 to 10 cops on the street in a 60 square mile city with 210,000 people. At the same time, you've got 40 firefighters sitting in stations waiting for a call to come in. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. And so we need to be looking at how we deliver fire service. And if we have the savings that I think we're going to show, I'd like to direct some of that into doing a better job of policing. That isn't to say that the police department is operating at full optimum and full efficiency. There's a lot of things we can do with technology. It's not just staffing. It's not just people. There's equipment. There's staffing. There's regionalization of some of the, like the gang task force or dispatch, or there's other things that we can work with, say Colton, or work with the county, or work with some of the surrounding cities where we can overlap and where we can join forces together. And so we don't have to spend money on a dispatcher in San Bernardino because we've got a central dispatch organization that's being funded by the county, Colton, San Bernardino, Grand Terrace, and some of the surrounding Redlands, some of the surrounding areas. So it's just being smarter about how we deliver services. In a world full of technology these days, bodies aren't needed quite as much. Now with police in their cars, we got to have cops on the beat and able to respond. So that's a long answer to a fairly simple question. Of making sure that we're utilizing our funds and utilizing our resources effectively.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.